Hello, my name is Karl Meneghella, and I'd like to welcome you to this season of Coffee with Karl. In each episode, we welcome guests from all over the world who are here to share their knowledge, insights and wisdom in topics both big and small. Hopefully every episode will also have some tips, tools and takeaways that you can use to further your personal and your professional growth. So thank you very much for joining me in Coffee with Karl. Thank you. Hello, my name is Karl Meneghella and welcome to this episode of Coffee with Karl. Today I'm very pleased to be able to talk to Mr. Amir Hussain Tagapour. Amir, a pleasure to meet you. A pleasure. And how about we start off with telling us a little bit about your journey, because I know you've done a couple of amazing pivots from management into finance, from engineering, and also you're a long way from Iran.
That's right.
So if you'd like to share with us a little bit about your background.
First of all, I have to thank you for having me here.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And it's a great pleasure to be here. Well, if I want to speak of like the background of the academic and also the journey of my life and how it led me to come to Thailand and continue my study, I can say I have a background of industrial engineering for my bachelor degree. And after that, I have like the intention to continue my study going to Europe, European countries. So, but the destiny kind of led me come to Asia.
Destiny has a habit of doing that.
Right, correct. So I decided to continue like my major in bachelor. So because there are many similarities between the industrial engineering and marketing MBA, so I applied for the master degree in like one of the universities in Thailand. So I finished my master in MBA marketing, and I didn't stop that. So I wanted to continue. I go for the also PhD in innovation management, industrial innovation management in another university. Besides this, I was so interested in research because research is very important.
Very.
And the thing is, with some of my colleagues, I started doing some like writing articles and submitting to the high-ranking journals in Scopus. And also after that getting some publication in the journals, and luckily, actually, I can say there's some connections, some other professors from other universities in Asian university, in European university, they get contacted to us, and this is kind of a start journey of like development in academic, doing this, doing that, and to different fields, I can say.
I think this is a story of a lifelong learner, a bachelor, then a master's, and now not stopping, going on for a PhD. But the other thing too is the more that you do your learning and research, the more networks you make. Because I believe you're also pivotal in an upcoming conference here in Phnom Penh, that you're one of the spearheading agents of that conference. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the conference?
Okay, hopefully, and I can say I had the chance to meet some decent and nice people in academic environments, including Dr. Cole and and I can say this is kind of lead us to have some collaborations and also for the development of such beautiful country like in Southeast Asia, like Cambodia, because this is I can see a lot of opportunities and potentials. I can see here that we can work on, and they are actually the Cambodians. They are also nice to collaborate. Cooperative, they are so much cooperative.
Very, very.
And we are basically doing that at the moment.
Now, you mentioned earlier about engineering.
That's right.
And then marketing, and then finance. And in finance, there was risk management as well.
That's right.
Can we talk a little bit more about risk management and maybe what's at the core of that?
Sure.
Especially for our students who maybe think of it only in the corporate world, but maybe we can give it a more pedestrian feel as well.
Definitely. If you want to define the risk management, because when we speak of risk management, it's kind of a very broad concept. But if I want to kind of classify it into like what it is, risk management, first of all, we have to identify the risk.
Of course,
Okay,
of
definitely.
course, yes.
There are many ways to identify. For example, if you have organizations, like I can say, since I have had a chance to teach some bank staff, some employees, I can say they can go to explore the customers or the clients' communication channels, like social medias, like the mobile applications in the platforms, like if they have like the iPhone or Android or something like that. They can search the comments and the feedback of the customers. If it's good feedback, if it's not good feedback, so how to find it, like what are the problem areas? It can be risky for them. And also, actually, customer relationship, customer CRM, customer relationship management also can help to identify the risk. After that, sorry to...
No, please.
Yes, please. After that, after identifying, we have to kind of give the score to the risk.
Yes.
How severe they are, how important they are. Because we want to take, probably there are a couple of risks, we have to spend the time, the human resources, to manage,
to evaluate, yes,
to evaluate, and also to give the priority, to spend the time. After that, we have to see who are the responsible, what sectors of the organizations are going to take care of that risk, to mitigate the risk.
I like the way you spoke about risk in social media, and I know that you mean that looking at the customer, say an organization applying, maybe they're applying for bridging loans, maybe they're applying for finance, and so you're looking at the social media of that organization. There's a lesson here for our audience, though, for students, is that your social media, you leave a footprint, and there may be a lesson there to learn about what you post, what you are involved in, to make sure that that's the kind of things you want to be associated with. Because when you're applying for a job, people on a personal level will also look at what's the risk of this person, this applicant, and they will look, quite commonly through your social media as a person. So it's not just a big organisation. And I'm sorry to interrupt there, but I thought it's something where we can look at risk organisationally, but also on a personal level. So
definitely,
the same principles apply.
Correct.
Okay, and you were talking about mitigating the risk. So what kind of things can they do to mitigate risk?
All right. As I said, like also each these steps might be seemingly like so simple, but it's important how to identify risk, how to classify that, how to give the score to the risks, even explaining these kind of steps to the other members, because they are from different backgrounds, finance, operation, marketing, sales, and so on. But how do we have a common language and to speak with, like, in a simple manner, simple way,
so they all understand.
So everyone understand it first. Because if they don't understand it well, they cannot contribute for mitigating risks afterwards. So the thing is, as you asked me how to mitigate the risk, when we give the allocation of the tasks to each sector, we also have to know about how to, or we call it know-how. Know-how, if I want to define it, is a matter of strategy. A strategy, if you also want to define, is a matter of how to do the job.
Right.
Okay, so the people, because in any organizations, there's like kind of risk management department. Risk management department also must be trained and also must train the other sectors how to do that, to come up with a strategy, structure, with the guidelines, how to mitigate that. After identifying, classifying, giving the scores. So it's a matter of education, it's a matter of training the employees. Also, it's also part of responsibility of HR in the organizations as well.
Yes.
So it's all a matter of education, learning, and how to do.
Could you give us an example of how this all comes together? Maybe where risk management, where the management of that risk helped to mitigate, say, a potential disaster or a potential bad call. maybe an example from your own experience?
All right. What I can say here is like, let's go back to the bank example. Okay. For one of the trainings that I had, like I can say the risk management department staff, they come to me and I kind of taught them about this, how to identify, classify, and mitigate. We kind of go through even the social media, the mobile applications that they have. So one of the problems was the users, they had the problems or difficulties in registering in the mobile application, or that was like very lag and like this is like it's taking time for them so much for transaction, which is not that safe, because when they are feeling like it's like taking so much time.
Yes, you're wondering
so
what's happening in the background.
What is happening in the background.
Yes.
So these are one of the risks. We call it hazard. We call it like a danger zone. So after that, we say, okay, if we don't take care of this risk, what will be the consequence? Losing the reputation.
Yes, and losing trust.
Losing the customers, the clients. Okay. So when do we come up with like understanding of what is the hazard and what is the consequences, we come up with mitigating risk. And what is the mitigating risk? Okay, we have to take care of the IT center or IT departments
to improve the transaction.
To improve the transactions.
Yes.
Improve they use the technology to kind of reduce the problem, reduce this risk, because when we lose the clients, this is like we have to kind of refrain from going to that stage. That's why the risk management comes in to refrain from the hazard happens. Okay. So this is one of the examples. I hope that I could give you enough explanation.
So putting on your engineering hat,
yes.
If you're, let's say it's an engineering organization, right? It's often involved with process. It's often involved with whether it's manufacturing, whether it's the actual process of manufacture or the process of development or the process of the R&D. Could you give an example of risk management in that engineering context?
That is a very good question. Thank you so much for
asking.
The example I give, that was for bank and services. Okay, yes. So because when we talk about products, it's either like tangible products like this bottle of water, or the services that we see. So when we speak of like engineering, it's a matter of for example, most of the time, tangible products.
Yes.
And another products, if I want to give you an example, that I've been also involved a couple of years ago, that is the air purifier.
Which one?
Outdoor air purifier.
Okay.
Yep. Not indoor. Indoor, like we have the air conditioner.
Yes.
But for the outdoor, especially for the crowded cities like Bangkok, I can say, and like Chiang Mai, like in Thailand, this is like a couple of months in a year. We are seeing like a very polluted air situation.
Yep. Especially in Chiang Mai.
PM 2.5.
Yep.
Is kind of irritating the people a lot.
So how do you outdoor air purifier?
Related to the risk management. Okay, what I want to say is actually probably the municipalities, the governments, the private and public sectors, they consider this one as a risk for the health of the citizens.
Yes.
This is a risk already. But and also some of the organizations, they come up with the innovative products. They say, okay, we come up with the outdoor air purifier to clean some air in some areas, okay? But the thing is, think of this is innovative, but we have to see if this technology, this is part of before starting the projects, and as you said, process. Is it really efficient? Is it really productive enough or not?
And if it's not efficient, and if it's not productive, it's not sustainable. It's not
That's
sustainable
correct.
economically, it's not sustainable for a business or an organization, it's not sustainable for the municipality.
Sure.
I see. Okay, so it comes in to also mitigate that long-term sustainability.
Exactly.
Or sustainability problems.
Exactly.
Okay.
So such projects, we have to think carefully ahead. Not just get into that, because probably this is kind of universal. They say, okay, this is innovative, let's get into that, make a proposal, and also ask for some budgets, let's do the job.
Yep.
But the thing is, for example, for this case, in some part of like Bangkok city, you can see some outdoor air purifier, but the problem with them is the filter is getting dirty so quickly.
Yes.
Because too much dust around, and it should be like even reused, or I can say replaced.
Yes, yes.
Replaced often, but it's costly.
Yes, of
This
course.
kind of project is so costly. So there are risks. There are some actions according to the risk, but we have to see and think carefully ahead. What are the costs and the consequences?
So maybe there was risk management when they started to try and educate the farmers, because I know a lot of the burning off, even from as far as Indonesia, affects Thailand, and vice versa. And part of the agrarian culture, the agricultural habit, was to burn off new harvest and that. So maybe even the education or changing the crops and cultivation is part of risk management.
Correct.
I see. It's all connected. Okay, so then we're going to change your hat from engineering to marketing. So you did an MBA in marketing. For me, on a pedestrian level, it seems that engineering is very much like, I can see this bottle of water, as you said, and I can say there's manufacturing, there's quality control, there's the risk of suppliers, like is the water pure? We take trust in that, but if people got sick, for example, that would damage the reputation of the company. That's tangible. In marketing, it's more intangible. Could you give some examples of risk management in the field of marketing?
That is also another good question, especially...
I had notes.
We are now living in the era of AI.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence, okay? So since 2000, I can say 2023, 2-3 years ago, we have seen the surgeons and appearance of like massive number of AI technologies and tech companies. Okay, so the thing is, before AI, like still the marketing and sales companies or advertising companies, I can say, they were having like this their process and also their market. But after AI, like you can see, day by day, year by year, and so quickly, it's getting towards to individualism. Okay, if you want to speak of like the marketing, advertising, and companies, in the past, the companies used to give like even the outsource.
Yes, yes.
Like the big companies, or they had like some marketing departments inside to do that. And probably in the marketing department, there are many like a couple of human resources. But now it is getting like less and less human resources and more dependent and relying on AI. It's a matter of the human resources to get skilled and get skilled up, to learn how to work with AI, to use it for. So it's a kind of risk for the human resources, and some companies that they're still sticking to the old and tradition style of marketing, I can say, in the market.
It's interesting because I know that if we don't educate ourselves, and this is something for the audience as well, you need to educate yourself, you need to market yourself, you need to be a person who is desired as an employee. And if you're not educated, if you're not continuing your own professional development, you run the risk of becoming redundant. And I saw an example at the airports where you have the robots doing the sweeping.
Correct.
And in a way that's excellent. They don't get tired, they can work 24/7. But it makes me wonder what happens to the people that used to rely on that for their income, who were sweeping the floors. And unfortunately, they're often not educated, which means their limitations are quite profound in what can they work as. And so I think there's a lesson there for all of us that we need to keep ourselves educated. We need to keep ourselves current. We need to be currency as an employee and as an employer. But I think that's something, a very strong message there to keep your own learning journey. And as you've said, from a bachelor to an MBA to a PhD. But I think also there's other ways of learning, whether it's on YouTube, for example, looking at tutorials, whether it's conversing with peers, asking questions of your professors, for example, which may or may not be related exactly to that lecture. But being an inquirer, I think those are really valuable. Okay.
I may add something also. As you say, so it's a concern for the people as well nowadays that, the AI is getting like more and more in different fields, different industries.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so am I going to lose the job? Or the people are going to lose the job in the future or not? But the thing is, I can say, probably in some fields, yes. But the thing is, what is more important than like thinking of just getting like scared or worried about losing the job is, as you said, self-learning and
Yes.
getting updated, and
Yep.
also skill up and learn how to work with AI. Then you will be multi-skills, you will have multi opportunities, actually creating opportunity for yourself
Yes.
to kind of not having like any difficulties for the.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking before the show about a circular economy, and to me, in my mind, that was talking about manufacture, consumption, everything else. But I think you meant it in a different way. Could you explain to the audience your definition of this circular economy in this context?
Sure. Circular economy, like the other concept of, we call it BCG, like bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy, they're all having one intention: to let the industries have less carbon usage, and also basically what I can say, before circular economy, there is a concept as recycling. In recycling, the industries, they used to get the material, the mineral ones, from under the ground, and also with some process in the factories, turn it to like some irons, the other materials,
Yes.
to use it for like the construction and so on. And also, after the destruction of the buildings, they can also extract the steel bars, also to use it. They send it to foundries,
recycling rather
to
than
recycle
remining,
it and
yes.
to reuse it again. Okay, so this kind of reusing process, until we can say to zero waste, okay, until nothing is left from that material. We call it circular. Okay, circular economy. But the thing is, what is circular? It has, besides, we want to kind of go for less and less to use the underground mineral material. We want to use what we have.
Yes.
Until zero waste.
Yes.
This is the brief explanation of circular economy.
So a lot of businesses before were more linear. They were more like get the product, manufacture, sell that, and that's it.
That's
and
right.
It's a continual linear thing. So now you're saying about making it more of a circular concept.
Correct.
Okay. Could you give an example of a company that you think is a good performer of circular economy? Or a
Well,
good example?
Sure. What I can say, for example, if I want to be so specific in giving examples, like the cars, they're using tires, 4 tires,
Yes.
okay? So in the tires, usually it's like a rubber or plastic, I can say.
Yes, yeah.
But also there's like a wire,
The wire belts,
steel
yes,
wires,
yes.
okay, very, very narrow steel wires. So that one, when the tires are getting like the exhausted and expired and deposited in the landfills, actually, it can be also sent back to some factories to kind of shred them and also extract the wire steels from that. That wire steel can be used also, can be cut again, and also with some process and machines. It can be used as a material to reinforce the concrete in the constructions.
Right,
Okay.
to make the rebar. It's interesting you said tyres, and this wasn't scripted, but interesting you said that because I know that in Australia, many of the playgrounds in schools are made from reconstituted tyres, and I hadn't made the connection before. But so there's an example where it's actually put to use. So instead of having to manufacture the basis for the playground flooring, they've reused the tyres, and so there's again mitigating that waste.
That's correct.
Okay, right, I see. Very good. So you see risk as something not just to minimise, but to identify, to process. If you were going to give any, like a takeaway for our audience, especially for students who may be studying, for example, business or marketing, and hopefully they do units in risk analysis, risk mitigation, risk management, what would be your big takeaways as far as their knowledge base?
That's good. Actually, I can say that identifying the risk as a first step of risk management
Yes.
is the most important section or step into after that risk mitigation. For identifying, we must have enough observation. Usually people think that they have, after just some observation and probably checking social media and this one, they come up with the conclusion, they jump to the conclusion so quickly. That is the mistake, I can say. You must have enough observation, after that evaluation, analyzing the situation, and couple of steps. After that, you come up with an understanding what risks are. So identifying the risk, the same as like if I'm kind of having some sickness or someone has some sickness, going to the doctor. So you must observe yourself to know your situation first. First of all, after that, explaining well to the doctor can diagnose your disease or your sickness much better, and come up with like the prescription,
the appropriate prescription or treatment or whatever.
So what I can say as a takeaway from this our interview, observation enough, and come up with the better understanding, analysis, evaluating, because this observation might not be 360. Usually people think after some observation, oh, I understand fully of the situation, but it's not. There are definitely some angles we haven't seen.
So maybe even thinking of the what if, and that kind of thing. So even if it's far-fetched, you think, what if this happened? And I've seen some crazy instructions like on an iron, an iron for clothes. They said, do not submerge in water. Well, you think, who would do that? But they've put that on there to mitigate the risk of someone doing it and to mitigate their liability if someone does it. So I think it's a very, very relevant for us. And I think we need to remember that risk is not just in the corporate sense. We all face risks every day. There's a risk when you cross the street. There's a risk in some of the sports we do. There's a risk, in many, many things. I think what this is talking about is a really good takeaway for us. Is it can be a profession, risk management, but it's also something to broaden the way we think. And I like your idea about the observing, the evaluating. It's almost like an introduction to research methodology, which we do in our masters and PhDs. It's a way of taking some rigor, not just looking at something and saying, that's what it is, but thinking, have I seen it enough times to be able to make a thesis about it, or a hypothesis about it?
I can also add something more.
Please do.
What I can say, besides observation, the same as, because you must have like a structured mindset.
Yes.
Try to train yourself, try to teach yourself to have a structured mindset in a way that, for example, we had flow charts. In flow charts, for example, in a workflow, we say, for example, this is a yes or no. If you want to have like a project, if you want to kind of start up a company, even for the relationship, friendship, you have to see, okay, if it goes well, if it doesn't go well. Then after that, what do I do?
What are the steps? Yes.
The steps. Also, if it goes well, what do I have to do? Probably after that, it will be problematic. It will be still going well. If it's a problematic, what do I have to do next? So it's a kind of flowchart you have to see at the beginning of each project, even in simple life, daily events that you have, or even for the workplace, you have to see. Because this kind of preparation make you ready for any risks, for any hazard, for any problems in the future. Then you can kind of train yourself to how to behave in such situation.
I can see how your background in engineering can help here, because in engineering it's often you find project management.
Correct.
And it seems to me there's a very good tie-in with the idea of flowcharts, project management, so that identifying critical path, that kind of thing. And that would help you to identify potential risks as you're doing that planning. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us for this episode. I'd like to thank you for joining me in this episode of Coffee with Karl. Hopefully the episode was a benefit in your personal and professional growth, and the tips, tools and takeaways will further help you. Thank you.